Fanatics. Hey y'all. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Top 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, not 10. We are in the top 10. That means 10 days until the start of the season. That's awesome. Football is back. Football is back, y'all. So as my number 10 team, I have the Baltimore Ravens. And what's wild about this was my sleeper pick last year. And I've kind of fallen off of them because they're not really sleepers anymore, if that makes sense. Like, not only are they not sleepers, but they're too noisy. The noisy teams, I feel like, are never good. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel like the Tomlin teams are always like kind of do your job kind of teams, and same with the Patriots teams and the Chiefs. They don't make a ton of noise. They just kind of just win games. No really divas. Kind of just like to win, and they're just gonna chill and win, and that's that. And the noisy teams, like, that's why Dallas for so long, man. It's just noisy, so much noise, something all the time. Um, uh, Zeke's in trouble because he's pulling down somebody's shirt. Dez is always in trouble. Not always in trouble, but not wow. Dez is not always in trouble. Always loud, always noisy. There's always this Romo stuff going on. Then the Dak contract thing, and it's just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. And now they're a little quiet. They kind of want to win, and that's why I really like Dallas this year. Harbaugh has always been the coach that's been like, we're gonna play good defense, and we're gonna make plays, and we're gonna win games, and they always win games. Harbaugh always wins games. He's always in the mix. He's one of the best coaches in the league. I'm recording this the day after their Commanders preseason game when they finally got their streak broken of 24 straight preseason games. Harbaugh was pretty upset. He was like emotionally like upset, not like emotionally like crying, but emotionally like he was like kind of mean to the reporters and short with them. And he just looks frustrated as a person, not necessarily that he was frustrated with the game. He just looks frustrated. And you could see it, man. This team that's never, ever been noisy, Lamar has missed 5 games the last 2 years. Lamar was holding out for a contract. He was kind of being like a little bit of a, I don't know, diva about it. He wanted a fully guaranteed contract. He wasn't going to play. He was only going to represent himself. He wasn't going to have an agent represent him to like kind of give him some, good ways to handle himself. I'm not saying that he handled himself poorly. I think he handled himself the way that any average person would handle themselves if they don't have an agent. That's why you have an agent that says, let me take care of the business side, keep doing what you're doing. If we need to get to a point where we need to hold out or whatever, then we will. But the best thing for you to do is this. He wasn't doing this. He's too involved. It's too personal. And the JK Dobbin wants to hold out. He wants a contract. It just is like noisy, And then they lose like I feel like they lose like kind of like the leaders on the team. They still have leaders. They brought Roquan Smith and was very, very smart. But they lost guys like Fuller, and Houston is a good vet for them last year. And Marcus Peters was a good vet for them last year. Even though he didn't play as well, he's just a guy that was in the locker room that was kind of there. Like, he was just kind of the thing is, I don't think it gets less noisy. Like, Bateman's going to win a contract soon, even though he hasn't really played a lot. I think this is year 3, and he was a first round pick, so they're going to need to talk about his 5th year option. And yeah, OBJ. What's going to happen when he doesn't get the targets? Because he's not the best receiver on that team. I saw Zay Flowers play yesterday. Zay Flowers is the best receiver on that team. What's going to happen when he doesn't get targets? Is he going to act like he was in Cleveland? Jadeveon Clowney has not always been the quietest person in the world. It just, they're still so good. They're still so good, and they still have a great coach. But I always just have trouble with the noisy teams. The noisy guys always. It's hard to be noisy and not have a target on your back. So I'm like nervous about the Jets, even though the Jets are super talented. Start feeling yourself too early, man. You get a target on your back. Yeah. There's a reason that a lot of teams that go to the Super Bowl don't make it back because they start feeling themselves too much. They start getting noisy. They start winning contracts. And the same teams that continue to win year after year after year are always the ones that have good leaders, aren't noisy. I'm not trying to say that like Tyreek Hill was noisy, but he wanted contract. It was a distraction, and Andy Reid said, "Fine, we'll get you the money that you need somewhere else. We're going to get less noisy because that's how we develop our culture." I talked about culture with the Browns, right? You need everybody focused, no noise, nobody being like worried about somebody else and just worrying about themselves and do your job kind of thing. I know that's kind of like cliche, but yeah, do your job. So I have my number 10, and I haven't winning games with because they're so talented and they're so well coached, but there is a lot of red flags, ton of red flags about this team. So let's go to O-line, fourth best O-line, and they do have a very good O-line. They have the fifth best secondary. Those safeties over there, Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams, good safeties. And then you have the 26th best D-line, but that was before the Clowney signing. So I would say maybe you go to like early 20s, maybe like 20th. But that's kind of, I think that Roquan Smith helps you out a lot in that situation. Having Roquan Smith there is huge for as far as you're thinking about running the football against them or the overall physicality of the defensive line. I think they're really fine. I think they're good. I think they're a really strong team. Let's talk about last year, okay? So last year they went at the Jets. They lose the Dolphins at home. They beat the Patriots at Patriots 37-26. They lose to the Bills at home 23-20. They win against the Bengals 19-13. They lose at Giants 24-20. They win against the Browns 23-20. They win at Bucks 27-22. They win at Saints 27-13. They win at home against the Panthers 13-3. They win at Jags 28-27. They win at home against the Broncos 10-9. They win at Steelers 16-14. They lose at Browns 13-3. They win at Falcons 17-9. They lose at home to the Steelers 16-13, and they lose to the Bengals 27-16. So it's 10-7. Their wins were so tight. I mean, they beat the Bengals 19-13. They beat Browns at home 23-20. They beat the Panthers 13-3. Beat the Broncos 10-9. They win at Steelers 16-14. They beat the Falcons at home 17-9. It's like they're not blowing anybody out. I mean, these are tough wins. And I think that we're thinking of Lamar Jackson as like the Lamar Jackson of 2019. And he's still dynamic, but he's not that guy. People have schemed against him. We talked about this in fantasy. I don't have his like actual yardage in front of me, but his fantasy finishes have been 14th, 15th, and 10th in the last 3 years. Either he's not on the field or he's not playing up to the caliber we think Lamar Jackson is. And we fall into this trap a lot of times with these like really dynamic players at one point in their lives. And we think that it will just continue to translate. That's why everybody was excited about Jadeveon Clowney like being a free agent this year with Panthers fans. They wanted Jadeveon Clowney. He ain't Jadeveon Clowney of old. He's gotten beat up. And then you're talking about Lamar Jackson. You're talking about OBJ's 30. So it's not the OBJ that you're getting up. Oh, you got uh, Dobbins coming off a ACL injury. You got Gus Edwards that's always hurt. You got Justice Hill, who I think tore his Achilles 2 years ago. These guys aren't what you think they are. But they got, I mean, their young guys are really freaking good. Like Kyle Hamilton's really good. Um, they got Rocket Sin is, I think, pretty good. They got Patrick Queen, which they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, which is kind of weird to me. We got Marcus Williams, who's really, really good. Their defense is young and they're physical, and they're going to be very, very tough to beat on defense, especially their secondary. But man, it's just so much noise. What is JK Dobbins doing? You played 8 games in 2 years, man. You're a running back. What are you trying to hold out for, or hold in, or whatever he was doing? But I mean, let's go. Like what we tell you, like look at the draft when people talk. Listen, they go and get Zay Flowers, who's I think he might be the best receiver in the draft. They got him number 1. He looks really, really good. And then they get Simpson, a linebackers early. I think they drafted him to take Patrick Queen's place because Patrick Queen, they didn't pick his 5th-year option up. So I think that's kind of like a plug for that. Outside linebacker, Tavius Robinson. And then they get Kelly, cornerback, which probably going to end up taking over for Humphreys Humphreys or Humphreys? It's Humphrey. Yeah, it's Humphrey. Yeah. Humphreys sounded. Is there a basketball player with Humphreys? Huh. Yeah, Kelly cornerback. So you need some cornerback depth. Completely agree with that. But man, these guys ain't what they used to be. And I think that they think they are, and I think they think they are, and that's why they're like kind of making noise. They want contracts. OBJ, it's 1-year deal. You don't think he's going to start winning money soon? Bateman? I don't want to put these on these guys. I don't want to. I don't want to assume these of these players that haven't been like that, but it is contagious. It ain't it. I don't think JK Dobbins does that unless Lamar Jackson does that. It's contagious, and you can see Harbaugh getting frustrated, and I think he's taking his frustration out on reporters because he's basically letting the players run the show, and that's not how it's been in Baltimore. But yeah, let's go through because the reason I'm saying all this, I still have them at 10, but they could easily be like 5. And the only reason I'm kind of pushing back on it is 1, their schedule is pretty difficult, and 2, they're just noisy. They're not focused. It doesn't feel like it, at least. And are we sure Lamar Jackson's going to play all season? He ain't done it in a while. So let's go. I got at Houston's a win. No, at home to Houston is a win. At Cincinnati's a loss. At home to Indy's a win. At Cleveland, I have as a loss. At Pittsburgh, I have as a loss. At Tennessee, I have as a win, but that's going to be real close. They are more talented, but he might get out-coached, or it's hard to win at Tennessee with Vrabel. I have Detroit at home as a win. At Arizona, I have as a win. Seattle at home is a win. Cleveland at home is a win. Cincinnati at home is a win. At Chargers is a loss because you're going cross country. You get the Rams after a bye as a win. At Jacksonville as a loss. At San Francisco as a loss. Miami at home needs that. It's a loss. And then I have Pittsburgh is going to be because the way I have it laid out is that if Pittsburgh wins, they can be the number 1 seed. If Baltimore wins, they make the playoffs. So Baltimore needs this game to make the playoffs, and I have them pulling it out, assuming Lamar Jackson's healthy. He hasn't played the last game in years. So assuming he's healthy, I have it as a win for the Ravens. So I have them at 11-6, and that's making the really tough assumption that Lamar is going to play every game, that Dobbins is healthy, OBJ's healthy, Bateman's healthy, Mark Andrews is healthy. They've all dealt with injuries the past 2 years. That's a huge assumption. Huge assumption. They're really strong on defense, but they don't really have a lot of depth. Usually, most times, I wouldn't care about that because I can Harbaugh can coach that up. I think Harbaugh's an excellent, excellent, excellent coach. They do get Todd Monken though. I really, really like that call, but it takes away your identity, and I kind of feel like Harbaugh got bullied into that. So they're just going to be spread, which theoretically does help a running quarterback. It spreads the defense out. There's less defenders when you scramble. I just don't know how dynamic Lamar is right now. I mean, he's always hurt, and he's getting older, and we have tape on him. Can he make those throws going wide? Uh, yeah, like I think I like Dobbins as a pass catching back, but I've only seen him 8 games in 2 years. I like Justice Hill a lot, but I haven't seen a lot of him. I've seen him in preseason. He looks fantastic, but Gus Edwards gives you like 6 games a season. I like Zay Flowers though. I can't wait to see Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews is going to be good for them. I just don't see how good that offense is. Like you have the fourth best O line, and you got rid of the offensive coordinator that runs the ball for offensive coordinator that spreads and throws to the running backs, and you're basically just not using your offensive line. So why do you have that kind of an offensive line? Like every other great offensive line, they like to run the ball, but you got rid of your offensive coordinator likes to run the ball. Oh, I'm worried about that, and I think this, like I said, this might be one of my this was my sleeper to win the Super Bowl last year, and they were kind of on their way until Lamar got hurt or sick or held out or whatever he did. Um, I think that they would have been very difficult for the Chiefs to handle last year. But now, I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Just worried. I'm just worried about this team. But I still think they're very, very talented. They're very talented. Have a great coach. I think that he's probably a Hall of Fame coach. You can decide for yourselves, but I think he's probably a Hall of Fame coach. Wherever he is, he's very, very good. And that division is just loaded with talent this year. So that's all I got for you. Man, I feel like I got the first team in the top 10, and I felt like I was very negative about this team. There are a lot of positives. These are all very talented players. And I need to reiterate how talented they are and how good they are and how good they can be. I'm just saying why I have them back, because a lot of people have them winning the division or at least competing with Cincy to win the division. I just have too many red flags for me to do that, but I still have them making the playoffs, and I still have them going 11-6. So that's my Ravens for you, and we're in the single digits next time. So appreciate you. Like, subscribe, download, and all those good things, and see you next time. Bye, 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 bye.